Girl. Actually making a girl.
This is ML and Sean.
I'd give her warm digis mammary glands.
Something's about to change their world. Something out of this world.
She's alive! Alive!
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
It's all in the name of science. The soul of Detroit.
Detroit bring it around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing?
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Al?
Hey kids, it's your old pal and weird scientist ML Elric back with another edition of The Soul of Detroit. And we have so many people in here. The first thing that somebody said when they walked in is, what are a couple unpopular dicks like you doing having a party? That's from a movie. Some Australian guy who was in The Road Warrior who ended up...
Great reference no one got.
Let's just put it this way.
Was that Cotillas?
Who, what?
I can't think of his first name.
Another awesome reference that no one gets.
Elias Cotillas? No, maybe it wasn't.
No, what?
Should we start over?
What's that? He was in Witness or something. No, it was a guy.
No, he wasn't in Witness.
I'll figure it out. Anyways, he's an Australian guy. They don't even have Elias Cotillas brothers over there for restaurants. Another reference to things that are long gone but very popular in the 80s. Well, we have a lot of guests with us, and we're very excited today to introduce, not Mark and Sean, they're here every week. And I was a little concerned with that sound in the intro that Sean was more concerned about somebody's physical attributes than the content of their character.
I wasn't listening.
That's...
Oh, thanks. All the hard work I did.
Not atypical, but still troubling. But we have our name and image likeness sponsored athlete, Kalina Neese, is with us. And our intern, our first ever intern, so we have our first ever nil, and then a guy who hopefully is going to mount to more than nil, Mr. Patrick Schmitz, who is going to be taking this show to another level throughout the summer. So, young people, please introduce yourself to all the old people listening.
I don't appreciate being called nil. I hope I'm a little more than that.
Name and image likeness. It's an abbreviation.
I don't know how rude.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No, it's still rude.
I'm pretty excited. I think that introduction, a lot of pressure now. Take this place in a completely better environment, new direction. I'm pretty excited to do it, though. I'm pretty excited to work with you guys.
That was a very professional intro.
Yeah.
The only man not on a camera, by the way.
Brimming with enthusiasm. He's got to work his way up to a camera.
Just like Sean.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have Sean's camera. Although I do think Sean looks very vibrant today, doesn't he? Doesn't he look awake?
But
it's a low bar.
Yeah, that's a big.
You think that's a low bar?
It's a low bar.
You know what's pitiful?
Uh-oh. Here we go. What?
That it's beautiful outside. It's warm outside. And I grabbed a hoodie out of my back seat to come in here because men control the interiors of the world and like air conditioning, right? So I can't. What is happening to me that I get a little chill and it's beautiful outside that I got to come in a goddamn sweatshirt.
Wow, a sweatshirt and some blasphemy is quite a day over there.
You need to go see a doctor.
I'm 50 going on 80, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
The blood's thinning.
A lot of our listeners are like, I had him at 70 going on 80.
Okay.
So it's the effervescent and youthful Sean Windsor joins us.
But vibrant, that's nice. Thank you, Mark.
Yes. Just like your soul.
I don't know where it all went.
Those are vibrim.
It disappeared.
When you walked in, I was like, wow, you look like a new man today, Sean. And then the mics go on and...
It's the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
We are.
What are we doing today?
Yeah, I've totally spaced out. I don't know. But we wanted to talk a little bit more about Bill Paxton. We're going to have a lot of Bill Paxton worked in through the show. If you recall from last week, we discussed, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but one of the greatest cinematic figures.
The vibrant guy.
Since Wells. Oh, was that you? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, so it was a major contribution to the show that came very near the end. So, yes, I should have reverse engineered that and knew it came from Sean.
Mark is motioning you to speed up, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's just a habit I have.
Oh, all right. I thought maybe...
With this podcast. I knew that was coming.
He's sitting in Brandon. See, I thought I may have been waving something away. But we are going to be talking as well about a couple topics that you may have seen in the news. The untimely death of former MSU basketball star Adrian Payne. We're going to talk a little bit about some poorly chosen words at a public meeting. But first, the only reason we get to talk about any of this is because of our very generous sponsors. So we'd like to thank Luke Nowacki for sponsoring not only our show, but all of the shows in the Red Shovel Network. And if you've been watching your portfolio right now, you are probably in the fetal position. Stop doing that. Let Luke do that for you.
Yeah, just put your head in the sand and let Luke handle it for you, because you don't want to overreact. A lot of people will overreact right now. The market's just plunging. No one can figure it out, but maybe Luke can. Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748. Rational financial advice, stocks, bonds. How do you allocate that 401k? What is a 529? Should you have one? Get advice, get a strategy. Call Luke Nowacki once again. Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748.
Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA/SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
Yeah.
Now, if you're watching a live broadcast of the show on YouTube, or maybe you're watching the replay on YouTube channel ML Elric, and you see that picture of Luke Nowacki, I know Luke is sitting down, but when I first saw it, I thought, oh my God, Luke hired some really tall guys, because
it does look like they're
Luke's
skying
a
over.
pretty well-proportioned
Zach
guy.
and
I'm
Nicholas,
I'm like, wow, Luke's starting a
got a
corporate
team.
basketball team. What's going on? These guys must be pretty good. But go see for yourself how big everybody really is over at Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. Or, you want to save some money, there's another way to do that. That's refinancing, or maybe turning to Hall Financial for your first mortgage. They are also a sponsor of all the shows here on the Red Shovel Network, and they will save you a bundle.
Well, right now, too, if you have, does anybody here have credit card debt?
No.
As the
Quite
recently unemployed, I have to say affirmative.
Patrick, you have credit card debt?
Not yet, but
Not yet. I'm looking forward to having credit card debt. That's a good way to look at it.
After he goes out and buys all those lattes for the team, he'll have some credit card debt.
Student loans, you guys are going to have to pay those off. Maybe you want to remodel your house, right, Sean?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the support for the read. A cash out refinance. That's what they're going to do right now at Hall Financial. Give them a call. You can even get a quick 5-minute mortgage review, but figure out how to get cash out of that house that you have, because the average homeowner gained over $30,000 in home value just last year alone, and they can get you a cash out refinance payment in as little as 8 business days. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews. Check them out online, callhallfirst.com or 866 Call Hall, CALLHALL.
And when you call them, make sure you let all our sponsors know that you found out about them from this show. We also want to thank the Caju Cafe. There's always something great going on at the Caju Cafe, which is the pride of the East Side. Every Monday night is open blues jam.
There it is.
Excuse me.
I was wondering, you made a weird noise beforehand. Can you find your
dying.
cough? Can you find your cough button?
Last time it was
Nobody
the
help
other
him.
one. Well, I'll say, is this where?
There we go.
Well, last time that we were talking about that before the show. Last time you pressed the wrong cough button and proceeded to cough into the mic.
I had a
I'm editing none of this.
I had a counter and I had a cough button to my left. That's the only one I could see, and the one that I'm supposed to use is buried on my right. So that's.
Oh yeah, so it's the setup.
Remove the bag of carrots and you'll be able to see.
It's poor staging.
Don't eat.
Poor staging. No, I was coughing because I was thinking about.
Choked up about how great.
Yeah, there were so many amazing things going on that they all tried to rush out of my esophagus at once, and so I'm going to take it slow, because slow and steady wins the race. Monday night, Open Blues Jam and Muscle Madness. Tuesdays, Funk Night. Wednesday, Karaoke, or some people call it karaoke. Thursdays, the Alternatives take the stage. On Friday, Fabulous Disaster, which is a Sex Pistols tribute band that starts at 7. On Saturday, it's the Orbisons, a Roy Orbison-inspired band, and Carolyn Strio. And Sunday, Django Phonic and Tony Camilletti kick it live. Kicking it live? Something like that. For more, visit CajuCafe.com. We appreciate their support. And if you're out and about on the east side, you're more likely to see me at the Caju Cafe than anywhere else. I hope that doesn't hurt their business, but it's a good place to go. So I was amazed how many people reached out to us expressing their great love for Bill Paxton. And we actually...
How ridiculous.
We were trying to be very empirical about this and find out what was the most significant contribution to American cinema involving the late great Mr. Paxton. Mark, what was the final figures?
Oh, Weird Science easily won.
Weird Science beat Aliens.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Much to Sean's chagrin. Look at him, man. He looks angry.
he actually thought it was a simple plan. That's why he was mad. His film was not included in the survey.
No, it wasn't.
53.5 to 46.5. Weird Science. All the way. Not even close.
So I went back.
Blowout.
And we were
Eat it, Windsor.
We were debating some of the.
You asked the wrong question. Sorry, Mike.
But you're the one that said it was more culturally relevant.
His quotes are more memorable from Aliens. That was my only point.
I disagree.
Yeah. They were
for our narrow little audience. That's fine, but for the United States of America, yeah, of course they're more.
Kalina, have you seen either movie?
I've seen Weird Science.
Okay. Have you seen Aliens?
No.
See, more culturally relevant. Patrick, have you seen either movie?
I haven't seen Weird Science, but I have seen Aliens.
Game over, man.
I'm editing
more
that one
famous.
Yeah, I've heard that line, but I've never.
Of course
seen
you have.
Yeah.
Game over, man. You were there on my side last week, Mike.
In terms of volume of memorable lines, absolutely Aliens.
That was my only point.
Oh.
Mark trying to turn it into
I ain't
this
trying to turn it into
treatise
anything.
about, making up women out of computers.
Yeah, you don't like John Hughes?
Not really.
What?
You didn't like?
I did like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That was the weakest of the John Hughes oeuvre.
It's probably the only one that could get made today, but other than that, yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot.
Ferris
16
Bueller?
Candles. There were a lot of movies.
Ferris Bueller's fun.
Oh God! So okay, so
Uncle Buck, Breakfast Club?
I didn't like Uncle Buck.
You didn't like Uncle? Why didn't you like Uncle Buck?
It's just too corny.
16 Candles?
16 Candles was good. Breakfast Club was great.
Pretty in Pink?
Mess with the bull, you get the horns. Pretty in Pink was okay.
And then his best movie by far, Vacation, the original one.
I don't agree.
What?
I honestly, 16 Candles is one of my favorite movies. 16 Candles and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
16 Candles
Easily.
could not
Ferris
be better.
Bueller. I loved Ferris Bueller.
16 Candles is problemable. It's got problems because of what's the character's name? The Asian guy. Can't even think of his name.
Long Duck Dong.
Long Duck Dong.
Yeah.
See? You're
Well,
complicit.
I think most of those movies included some sort of woman drinks too much and wakes up with creep on top of them. It's
Exactly.
like, oh,
I was just going to say that. Yeah, that's
80s.
yeah. So
Yeah, that was funny, right?
Yeah. It's wow. Michael Anthony Hall finally got a woman, but she was drunk. So now he's not the king of the dorks. He's
Anthony Michael.
What'd I say?
Michael Anthony.
Oh, at least I didn't say
Just
Philip
Van Halen.
Michael Hall, the guy, Mr. Bookman, and from Magnolia.
Yeah.
What's his name? Philip something Hall, but he's great. Anyways, so I was thinking about Ferris Bueller's Day, which I didn't like, but the guy who was in it, his buddy, is in Succession.
Cameron.
No, Alan Ruck, I think his name is, and he was in.
He played Cameron.
Plays Cameron.
Yeah, he plays Cameron. Okay, right, and he was also in Spin City, and he was
in Speed,
right,
of all
but-
things.
And it got me thinking. I know people want to pursue their profession and their career, and a lot of times it doesn't go the way you think it goes. But if you're Alan Ruck, if somebody had said, you're going to go to Hollywood, you're going to have a successful career, but every gig you have, you're going to be the tool. Would you still want to? I mean, this guy, when you see his name show up at the beginning of the screen, when they're flashing names, like, there must be a complete loser in this because Alan Ruck is in it. I mean, he's always
typecasted,
a doorknob.
What is y'all's favorite John Hughes movie?
Definitely Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller.
I love that movie
I love
so
16 Candles. It's like my comfort movie. Like when I'm like.
Oh, that's interesting. A roofie in comfort. That's.
Well, there were other parts to the movie.
I just think
I'm
it's
kidding.
funny. Like,
Exactly.
It's just a
Oh yeah,
classic.
rape culture's funny.
Sean.
Oh my God. That's not what I'm saying at all.
I know,
It's
I
just
know.
one of those things like on Saturday mornings, my mom and I would be like, oh, let's watch 16 Candles. Or like when I'm on a plane, I'm like, oh, let's watch 16 Candles. Just one of those movies that's like my go-to. Like this is going to make me feel good and feel happy.
That was the beginning of the Molly Ringwald phenomena, and then she kind of just totally disappeared. Although she was
She writes books now, right?
She was supposed
Nobody
to be
reads.
the woman who interviews
I don't, especially the rundown.
the guy in
Clearly, because we're way
in
off.
Sling Blade. She was originally cast as the woman who starts the movie talking to Billy Bob, but she got replaced by somebody else.
Fascinating.
You didn't like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
No, he said it was the weakest one of the batch.
It just was schmaltzy.
It was for
Just,
sure.
You know, it's like, and at the end, but he doesn't have a family. Small, mean guy gets a heart. It was like the Grinch all over again with Steve Martin.
You don't like
and
being
John
portrayed
Candy.
like that, do you?
What's that?
As the Grinch.
I always thought of myself as the dog with the antlers on the top.
Max.
Max, yeah. Just loyal, overcomes, kind of sees what's going on, but it's too cool to really,
complicit in his
involved.
crime.
Not entirely.
Should have been charged as an accessory.
What, to the break-in over at the Who
Whoville?
house
Uh-huh.
in Whoville?
Totally.
What's
Okay, so
amazing
maybe
is how
I'm not-
John Hughes has been canceled a little bit. Some of his movies. That was a thing a couple of years ago.
Well, he's also dead.
No, but just his canon, so to speak. People started revisiting it a couple of years ago and thought, oh, well, we can't watch this. We can't.
Let me
watch
ask you
this.
this:
We can't watch this.
Is that kind of stupid in your mind? Or are you all for it?
I don't know what you mean by stupid. Just like we should.
Has it gone overboard?
We should put them in the context of their time and.
Well, I mean, those movies
view them through that prism.
Those movies mean a lot to people because they were just everywhere in the '80s, and then, in the '90s they were always on cable every morning. I mean, there's a lot of laughs in a lot of those movies, and yeah, there's parts of 16 Candles that are not the best scenes, but those are so minor to the whole movie. I think.
I guess it depends on your point of view.
Well, that's why I'm asking. I'm curious to your point of view.
Well, it's almost like, does a part cancel the whole? Because when you think about those movies, that as someone who was the age of all the dorks and just as dorky as the people are in those movies, they were all kind of underdog movies where the people who were overlooked or marginalized or left out somehow found a way to be significant or to surprise everybody, which right now would seem to be a really positive message where everybody thinks like, oh, nobody's paying attention to me or nobody understands me or recognizes me. But there was always something slipped in where somebody kind of did something creepy or somebody, there are all the racial tropes where, the Asian kid comes to the school and then he's a goofball and, everybody kicks him around, but they crack a beer with him. So I guess it's okay. We're enlightened.
No, we've come a long way for that. But I'm with you on Vacation, by the way. Right.
I don't like any of the vacation movies, so I'm probably the wrong
I thought
guy
the first one was
phenomenal.
And it actually holds up a little bit.
Probably has some problems to it, doesn't it?
The moose says you're closed. I say you're open. What's that?
That probably has some problems to it, though. Could it be made today?
Oh, what? Uglin, who was the
Christy
model? Christian Brinkley?
Uh-huh.
And the was it a Ferrari? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
But that's
not giving somebody a roofie.
That's what drives me up the fucking wall. No, of course not. But it's also just a movie. I know you hate the it's just a argument.
I don't.
No,
Sean saw it on PBS, so he thought it was a documentary.
PBS.
Yeah, it was Frontline. Family goes on vacation to an amusement park.
So you had all these John Hughes movies, and then you had like Sandler movies were big, and then it was Apatow. What comedies are being made now?
That's a good question. Even Apatow stuff kind of from 20 years ago, right?
Well, now on Twitter he's super woke. But yeah, no, there were some movies, Catherine Heigl was not happy about Knocked Up and some of the things in there, which, whatever. But yeah,
she just wasn't happy, period.
You could really pick apart certain things in all his movies, and it's kind of like, well, what can be made now? Because I feel like people are scared to make things now.
I agree with that. By the way, shouldn't we be talking about the Bill Paxton canon?
Well, this is kind of a corollary. He was in some of these.
I'll edit it all.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So, do you know what one of Bill Paxton's early movies was?
No, I don't. I thought that was you were going to tell me.
Such a lead.
Okay, I'll take you a little bit down the path. This guy's a few cans short of a 6-pack, and then he was brutally murdered.
Tell me.
Terminator. He was one of the thugs at the beginning of Terminator who rolled up and said, "Wash day tomorrow, nothing clean." That was the other guy, which I always thought was weird that there was a guy who had a Canadian accent walking up to a killer android in L.A.
What did he say? You're close. Give them to me now.
Yeah. You're close. Give them to me now.
You know what his worst movie is?
They complied.
That was actually
in fact,
that movie holds up well too.
The first guy got killed, and then when he turns to Paxton starts taking off his studded leather vest. He had the blue spiky hair.
I remember. Yeah.
He was great. He stole the show. I don't even remember what happened after that in the movie.
Yeah, right.
I just sat there for the next hour and a half just to see the credits. Like, who was that dynamic young go-getter?
It's amazing back in those days how that was L.A., right? And New York was similar. Both those places were often filmed as this sort of apocalyptic kind of landscape, right? Where a guy with spiky hair would be looking to cut you up just for walking around naked.
Or date you, like Nicolas Cage in Valley Girl.
Oh, now I love that movie.
Now, did you guys see Valley Girl?
Mm-mm.
No.
My kids,
probably had their first date when they went to go see Valley Girl.
Oh, and actually, I saw that not that long ago, within the last couple of years. I love the Plimsolls too. Why don't we ever play the Plimsolls, by the way?
I think we have played the Plimsolls.
Have we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe I was upstairs.
No, you were probably saying, you're sitting there thinking, boy, I wish this was that David Byrne guy band where he wears the big suit. And then checking your emails.
Yeah. Lots of dead space today. Sorry.
Well, we're talking about a lot of dead people. Bill Paxton, John Hughes, Irony, all gone and forgotten. So,
pretty sure Bill Paxton was also in my favorite movie. It was called The Edge of Tomorrow. It came out about 8 years
That's a
ago.
fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie of all time.
Why'd they change their title?
I think they might have just wanted to change things up a little bit. I have no idea. All I know is it's my favorite movie ever, and my second favorite movie came out same opening weekend. So
what's that?
It's called A Million Ways to Die in the West. It's a comedy with Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, I've not seen
it's
that.
It's a good film. There's another one that probably couldn't be made today.
Well, he's making a TV show that probably shouldn't be made. I mean, he gets away with every rude joke you've ever heard.
I feel like it's just, I don't know, gone too far.
I think that it's actually kind of
gone too far.
Yeah, it's gone a little bit far, but I think that they've also been doing a pretty good job at keeping comedy from being blacklisted and getting you canceled as it is in other mediums. Like, I feel like whenever I watch a comedy, it's always still trying to push the line and trying to go into that realm of shock humor that people have not really gotten as upset about in comedies as I have seen in other forms of entertainment.
Oh, I feel like comics are constantly being attacked, especially stand-ups doing their shows.
Sometimes literally, yeah.
Well,
but with Family Guy, I think every single thing that happens in the Family Guy is so offensive that people don't complain, because when you sit down to watch the Family Guy, it's not like, oh, I was really enjoying this show, and then I can't believe somebody said that. It's like when you turn it on, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody said that, and we're just getting warmed up. So I think he kind of protects himself by being, horrible from beginning to end, whereas other people may say something and say, oh, I'm not sure that was what we should have been talking about.
You've talked about this before, Mike, and the idea, if you stay away from punching down in comedy, you're usually okay. Right? I know we've talked about this on the show before. It's been a while.
But I still make jokes at your expense, and I feel vastly superior.
No, that's okay.
I've broken my own.
That's okay, but it's not. I mean, I know it's punching down in the sense that you're vastly superior and much smarter and all that sort of thing. But as far as society is concerned, you're not punching down, so it's okay.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is white on white crime, so it's So we're a couple
of dudes living in brick houses, right?
Couple of sad old guys, broken dreams laying around us like so much shattered glass, just sparring. Yeah.
Living in a gray
nothing to see
kitchen.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just two creepy guys in the basement. It's inspiring. So before we move on from Bill Paxton, even though it felt like we already did, do you know what role he played in the JFK assassination?
I don't remember.
Is that a movie or is it actual assassination?
Was he in
actual assassination?
Oh,
I wasn't alive then, so.
He did actually, I think, help produce Parkland, which was a movie about how I think the hospital responded to having the president brought in there after he was shot at Dealey Plaza. But Bill Paxton was brought up in Fort Worth, which is a suburb of Dallas.
Alito.
And his family...
suburb of Dallas?
That's a Supreme Court justice.
What?
It's a city in Texas? Are you going to give me that? Or we're going to argue about geography now?
Suburb of Dallas?
I just want you guys to fight. What are you arguing about?
So Fort Worth
is... He called Fort Worth a suburb of Dallas.
Well, it's all the same.
Fort Worth is a city in Texas that has some proximity to Dallas, but people who know
Isn't it like 40 minutes away, though?
About 30, 35, but...
Okay, who's off by 5 minutes?
So, anyways...
Maybe 20 if you're on the
Thanks for tuning into the Texas Geography Podcast. We're brought to you
Fort
by...
Worth's a city of a million people. What do you mean a suburb of Dallas?
We're brought to you by
Arlington
nobody because
is a
nobody gives
suburb
a
of Dallas.
shit about how close Fort Worth is
Don't
to
talk
Dallas.
about my city that way.
Wait. Somebody gives a shit about how close Fort Worth is.
Aledo is a suburb of Fort Worth, which is where Bill Paxton went to high school, which is also where I went to high school.
Oh, really?
But that's a different story.
So Sean's trying to bring us into Roe versus Wade with this Aledo reference, but we are not falling into that trap.
A D, not a T. Aledo.
So Sean, tell us a little bit about Aledo. It sounds like a fascinating
It was
place.
a dry county it was in a dry county when I was there. So
Oh, wow.
we had to go get our malt duck.
Is that true?
In Fort Worth.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is right
That's
next to Dallas.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, you probably just stepped
it's not
across
right
the
next
city
to
line.
Dallas. Irving and Arlington. Well, actually, not Arlington
He
separate.
really tried to throw Sean under the bus by making him talk about it, and then he actually tells a story about it.
By the way,
I think
Irving
he-
was
I think he
also the
won that
guy who
fight.
sold him the
Irving's a little
cold
more.
duck
Sorry,
or
that's my
whatever the
bad.
hell it was. You're drinking cold duck in high school? You're kind of a fancy boy.
Yeah. No, it was cheap. That and Black Label.
No, it's malt duck. We were just trying to.
Yeah.
Malt duck is as close to cold duck as Fort Worth is to Dallas, by the way. At any rate, the Paxtons of Aledo decided to go see the president when he was going through Dallas. And Bill Paxton was sitting on his pappy's shoulders when the motorcade went by. And they have gone back and reviewed that film. I don't know if it's the Zapruder film or some other film, but you can find a picture of Bill Paxton sitting there on Pappy's shoulders watching as JFK rolls by in his Lincoln Continental with the suicide doors before he is shot by, most of us believe, Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
So his role in the assassination, he was a witness. He was a bystander.
Yeah, good question.
And sometimes, it's the journey. I mean, if we hadn't talked about Bill Paxton at all, we'd never have any idea about how close Fort Worth is to Dallas, which I think a lot of people right now are saying, there's a lot of bullshit. That first half hour was a waste, but now I know so much more about metropolitan Texas that that's why I come back every week, but I won't make that mistake again.
Oh, that's all right. Detroit's a suburb of Chicago.
Okay.
I just want to see where he's going with this. Now what?
I'm trying to find something sharp so I can open a vein.
You're usually quicker than this.
Well, I was wondering if you're going to try.
I'm right now. I'm furiously calling up a map of Texas just to see if there's any way I can come back because I think Aledo probably is more than a suburb of Dallas. It's probably its own municipality where they're very proud. They don't want to be overshadowed by Dallas.
It's a suburb of Fort Worth, but go ahead.
Oh, God, this is like quicksand. The more you struggle, the more you sink.
Two guys who won't give up.
I gave up a long time ago. That's why I'm here. So, Kalina, what have you been up to since the last time?
That's a terrible transition.
Been working at the radio station. I got a promotion. I'm now the senior news producer, so that's really exciting. I'm also working at El Az, a Mexican restaurant and tequila bar.
That's located in East Lansing, which is a suburb of Lansing.
Yeah, that is
But also
true.
its own distinct municipality.
What are you doing there?
I'm bussing and hosting. It's not really fun, but, pays well. So, getting a lot of money.
And how are people treating you when they come in? What kind of mood are people in?
Normally they're drunk when they come in, so it depends.
A happy drunk or they're entitled?
If we're not busy, they're happy because they get to sit out in the patio. But if we're busy, like on Cinco de Mayo, people were yelling at me 24/7 just trying to get a table with a 2-hour wait. I'm like,
They're rude?
not really.
Now, do you notice that the customers from Fort Worth are different from the customers from Dallas? Because they're obviously vastly different. There's a gulf between these two thriving metropoli.
I don't see a lot of people from Texas and East
So there's not enough of a survey sample to make any sort of, okay.
He's making a joke about that.
Well, I'm fully aware.
But no, I know you're aware of that. But,
why do I do this?
Oh, my God.
You can't let anything go.
It's like Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti. People in Ann Arbor look down at people in Ypsilanti.
For more on the
Unfortunately.
Caju Cafe, go to cajucafe.com. It's Muscle Monday next week.
Or Michigan State.
Well, there's a transition for you. Do you want to talk about Adrian Payne?
Well, I want people to know a little bit more about Patrick Schmitz before they say, "Boy, I'm glad I stuck around from that Dallas Fort Worth discussion." So Patrick, you're a student at Grand Valley State. recently released from a halfway house where you were sentenced after some crimes that will soon be expunged, so we don't need to talk about that. But what is it that brings you to this podcast? What is it you're hoping to accomplish this summer?
Well, I only have 3 more class credits to take for next semester before I graduate, but I do need an internship. So
it's utter desperation then.
Well, I mean, you were my first choice, though. I mean, there was really no other place that I wanted to go.
Don't inflate his ego.
Such a lie.
Well, Kalina has a podcast. You could have gone to WDBM and interned on her show.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, ouch.
No one has. It's
No
okay.
offense, of course.
I get my 40 listeners.
Shit.
It's my dad listening to it.
Well,
40
we have
times.
45, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, so I decided I wanted
43.
to work for a
42.
podcast.
We're falling so fast. I'm afraid we're going to get a nosebleed.
So yeah, I wanted to work for you because I mean I knew you in high school and you were always so nice to me, and I thought you were a funny guy, and I heard from Emily that you had a podcast of your own and that it was pretty good and it was pretty funny. So I gave it a listen myself, and I think it's great, honestly. And I just wanted to ask if I could work here, and you said yes, and I was super excited for it. But yeah, I graduate after next semester, so I'm looking forward to that.
You heard from Emily. For our listeners, Emily is
my daughter.
There you go.
Who I guess has listened to the show before, so that's good.
What do you want to do? So you're graduating. What do you want to do?
So my main interest is going into radio, but I would also like to do any type of journalism back in the UK because I'm hoping to move back there after next year.
Why?
I mean back.
Well, yeah. Why do you want to go back?
So I actually
as far
grew
as
up in
away as he
Europe.
can get from this basement.
Why don't you have an accent?
Well, I moved here quite young, so and I also had an American mother. So I was living in a family with only myself, my brother, and my sister were the only ones who still had our accents, and my mother didn't. And I went to a school with all Americans. And let's just say other kids are very mean, and they don't like it when you sound different. So
Kids
after
suck.
a few years, I just kind of threw it away and just stopped using it entirely.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Harlow, which is a small little town inside
Suburb of
Essex.
Dallas.
Yeah, it's right next to Dallas in Epping. And
Effing Dallas. Oh, Epping. Sorry.
It's a suburb
Epping.
of Dallas. Get it right.
Yeah, so it's in that's a part of Essex, which is just northeast of London-ish. And
Not a suburb.
Not too
of
far from
London.
Norwich.
I mean, you could call it a suburb if you wanted it to.
How
but
close is it to Aledo?
Aledo, probably about 4,500 miles.
We have friends of the show in Norwich.
That may actually be an accurate answer.
Not too far.
Oh, in Norwich.
We do. We have friends of the show over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They listen.
And that's a suburb of Sheffield.
yeah.
Oh my lord! What is going on today?
So,
You're never gonna come back, are you?
So can you turn this accent on and off?
You said you have
I
to?
can, but
We're doing
my
two
brother will always make fun of me whenever I use it, so I try not to use it in front of people.
Well, come on.
Okay.
Hello, governor. Just a real bad one.
So there's a bit of a difference in accents in the UK, and when you grow up in Essex, the one that you just used to, quite frankly, make fun of me is actually the most common accent in Essex. However, my father, grew up in the UK after moving from Germany, and he always learned to use a conservative RP accent.
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very deep. It's conservative RP is what we call the Queen's English, and that is basically what we would call posh, which is the fancy one that people always make fun of in the UK. However, if I had stayed there, I'm sure that my accent would have devolved into the hello governor, because that's what usually happens in Essex, is that you sound like that.
Do you ever break it out just to see people's reactions, be it like for a job interview? I know, because people think it sounds smarter, I would suppose, or chicks tend to really dig accents.
They
did in the 80s during the John Hughes era.
I do sometimes bring it out just to troll people. Usually just to see the look of bewilderment on their face. It always is hilarious to me.
What about the words, though? I don't know. A lot of the phrases, you've dropped those too, like brilliant or right then or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean,
adopting whatever.
I'll say those in an American accent too. So it doesn't really. I think people will sometimes look at me if I'm speaking with my normal Midwestern accent. and I'll use things that they're not used to hearing, then they'll usually ask me if I'm not from around the area. But if I just really want to trip somebody up, or if they're annoying me, I'll just switch back to my English accent just to. Are we allowed to curse?
Yeah. Say whatever you fucking want.
Just to fuck with them a little bit, just to make them all surprised. And
What do you call the rear compartment of a car?
Oh my
God. Boot.
There you go.
Yeah. What would you put in Sean's ass if he tried to give you a geography lesson?
A foot.
A trainer.
Foot. Oh,
trainer.
Okay, score 1 for Sean of Epping. So, Kayla, if you leave here and you get a phone call from an English guy seeking to intern on your show, I just want to tell you.
I know where he came from.
Yeah, ask for references. So are you going to be up in East Lansing all summer?
I will be. I'm going to try to go visit my brother in the UP for a little bit, but other than that, I'm going to be in good old East Lansing.
And are you going to make some time over the summer to watch some more of these Bill Paxton films?
Probably.
Are you going to watch Valley Girl?
Be honest, don't
Will you
lie.
watch Valley Girl?
Not a Bill Paxton film.
No, but it's a...
If you really want me to watch Valley Girl,
I'm curious if it holds up or not. For, you like 16 Candles, so...
We could do an AV club.
You know?
We could have...
Do you watch old films, or are you just like, oh, those are gross?
No, I watch old films.
What do you mean by old?
Like 80s.
Yeah. That's old. Come on.
For me, that's old. But
it's vintage.
I originally wanted to study like filmmaking and documentary making, and then I realized I'm going to live in my parents' basement, so I didn't want to do that anymore. But I've always been really interested in it. So I like to go back and watch old films that are known for being like classics or like ones that won awards. When COVID first hit, I took every day I would watch a different like Oscar-winning film just to see what it was, because you don't typically watch those.
Yeah.
But I don't know, film really interests me, so I watch a lot of different things and a lot of different movies.
Do you guys watch 30s, 40s, like noir, Maltese Falcon, Humphrey Bogart, all that kind of stuff? Do young people watch that anymore?
No, but I played a video game called L.A. Noire, it takes place
Not at all the same.
Yeah, no, it's about the closest I've come to that. I've seen
Kaylee
Snow
is a
White.
teacher named L.A. Dickerson, so it's all worlds colliding. So before we move on to the rest of the show, last time you were here, Kaylee, you were telling us about crazy stuff going on campus. Do you guys have any stories that would blow old people's minds about what you've seen and experienced in our ivory tower?
I do have a crazy story. So this past weekend was graduation, so a lot of people going out, a lot of craziness. My one roommate, she's still on the rowing team, and it was our other roommate's birthday. So she got decorations for her. She left them in her car, was going out to her car to go bring them into me. Keep in mind, it's like 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday. She opens the front door, and there's a man sleeping like on our welcome mat.
Oh, that's fun.
Was it Anthony Michael Hall?
We have no idea who this kid was.
Well, young people don't know who he is either.
Well, yeah, but
we can't rule him out.
She freaks out, comes and wakes me up. She's like, there's a man on our door. I go, what? And she opens the door again, wakes the kid up, and he just sits up and goes, I'm so fucking confused. She goes out to her car, comes back. He's still there. He went back to sleep.
Did he have an English accent?
He did not.
Okay.
But she asked him, like, are you going to stay? Like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm just going to wait it out. And went back to sleep on our, like,
good answer.
in our hallway of our apartment building.
He's tired. What do you want him to do?
Is there a chance he was trying to find Dallas and he was from Fort Worth and was surprised at the vast distance
I was waiting
between these two completely distinct geographical...
When Mike gets a dog biscuit in his teeth, yeah.
But I never saw that kid again.
How old was he? Was this like a creeper or just like some other student?
He was a student. Like he had to have gotten in our building somehow, because you can't get into the hallways where all the apartments are unless you have a key or someone lets you in.
Okay.
I don't know where he came from. I've never seen him before.
Oh, so
I don't know how he got in.
Weird guy floating around that I saw in college, naked with David Thewlis. Have you ever seen this before? He's like the most vile person. He destroys everybody's lives. But in the middle of it, there's this drunken kid from Aberdeen who's walking through the streets of whatever town they're in the UK, just cursing uncontrollably. And he just pops up all over the place, kind of a... Okay, nobody's seen that one.
No, by the way, what's going on with the tracker?
It's currently
Last
playing
time you were talking about tracker, following people in the watch or something. I'm trying.
Yeah,
slipping little Yeah.
AirTags.
I haven't heard about it much lately.
I still maintain that is a story that the news media loves that isn't really that big of an issue. That's just my opinion.
It was big in the beginning of the year, but now I don't see it as much. I've heard a lot more about people.
I love it when.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I love it
It's
when
not a
conspiracy theory Mark comes out.
It's not a conspiracy.
Everybody wants to cancel everything.
I just think I don't feel that way.
John Hughes is the best ever.
It wasn't the 80s. No, but that story just seemed to be one of those.
He was from Fort Worth, by the way.
Clickbaity stories because every time you see
I
one
heard
of
he
those
went to school every morning in Dallas. It was so close.
I'm sorry, Mark. Go.
That's fine. Every
No,
time
go.
there was an AirTag story, it would always end with, and the person was notified on their phone that they were being tracked. And I'm like, okay, so after you came in, I was very aware of all these stories every time I would see it. And it just seemed to be one of those fear-mongering stories that, hey, people can slip an AirTag on you and track you around. And
did this guy have an AirTag, maybe?
I don't know. This poor kid was so lost. I don't know how he ended up.
Maybe he needed an AirTag.
Was he drunk? Was he?
Clearly.
But I mean, he could be a kid who was off his medication, or who was on medication, had some drinks, and got disoriented, or was
watched
he like
too much 16 Candles.
Really drunk.
Are you worried in general about like security on campus?
Yes and no.
Are you worried about being AirTagged?
It's not more so on campus. It's like downtown, like when I'm walking home from work, like that gets kind of scary, especially late at night, because drunk people will do what drunk people
downtown? Yeah, you want to be aware, right? I mean, you got to be aware of your surroundings and whatnot. But generally,
San Antonio.
There's a lot of fear mongering that college
other part of the state
aren't safe.
No,
it's a suburb of Austin.
I don't ever feel like
that's where they got the Alamo
scared on campus.
Are you guys done doing your argument?
No, they're never going to finish arguing. This is just how it is.
Well, there was so Michigan State had that really sad story about Brendan Santo, right?
Yeah.
He went missing, found, died. And then this past weekend, there was another Michigan State student that was missing.
But she was found. She was fine.
She was found
home safely.
I feel like it got a lot of attention because of Brendan Santo, but this student, Nicole Kwang, went missing, and the reason she went missing was because it was graduation weekend. Her family came up to see her graduate, and it's crazy. She didn't have enough credits to graduate, so she went missing.
Oh.
So now here you had
tell the folks.
You had a lot of people mobilizing to look for her, because she was too embarrassed to tell her parents, maybe because whatever reason, the pressure they put on. I don't know why someone would do that, but use a lot of resources doing that. And here gets a lot of attention because of Brendan Santo.
Yeah, I mean, campus feels a lot safer since then. I mean, I will never like the fences they put up. I think they're ugly and they cover
Fences?
the river.
What fences?
They put fences up along the river so that people
To
don't.
separate Lansing from East Lansing.
No, it's to separate.
That's 40 miles
Build
of
the
fences
wall.
you're going to need.
Yeah, it's just annoying. They're ugly fences. I hope they're temporary because they're just
They won't
like
be.
they're so
They won't
gross.
be.
But they did put in like 400 new cameras on campus, and they're trying to make things safer. But I never felt unsafe in the first place. My friends
that's
always
good to
make it
hear.
a joke that I will be the one to walk home alone. I refuse to Uber. Why would I pay $20 for an Uber when I can walk 20 minutes?
What do you think of all those cameras? It's like CCTV. How you
Like in
grew
London,
up.
yeah.
Cameras everywhere in England.
I didn't really notice anything there. To be fair, I was so young when I lived there that I mean,
That you never had an accent and you're pulling it out on this show?
no, it was I was
Johnny Depp of our podcast.
just Johnny
You can
Depp.
turn it on and off. And somebody pooped in his bed.
That case has been so interesting. That's like the only thing I'm paying attention to right now.
That's all my
It's
kids are
just
talking.
funny.
That's all my kids talk about too. It's amazing.
Her lawyers
They're the
suck.
worst. They are absolutely
They're like you would think
terrible.
she would have enough money to pay good lawyers.
They are really, really bad.
And now there's like speculation that she's drinking in the courtroom and all.
and like taking a bump of coke.
Yeah, with the Kleenex.
It's fascinating though how the internet has
A
just
bump.
totally taken Johnny's side for the most part. I would say most, at least on social media, are pro Johnny Depp, which I maintain is because they like his movies. I mean, that's really to me what it's about. Because these are two of the absolute worst human beings that never should have been together.
Yeah.
And I don't
Actually, I think they should be together to spare all the rest of us. You
Yeah,
know,
maybe.
like they take themselves out of circulation.
They're
We're
both
like,
just
"Whew,
crazy."
we don't have to worry about them.
It's a terribly abusive relationship from both sides. And
Yeah.
it seems like the lawsuit is just strictly to put all her dirty laundry out there because she talks so much shit about him, which seems like a very childish reason to sue somebody.
Now, see, from what go. So from what I've seen, I actually thought that it was Depp who had the really shitty lawyers because he lost in their case, his libel suit in the UK. And one thing I've learned, from some law classes that I took is that when you sue for libel in the UK versus in America, when it's in America, the defendant doesn't have to prove the statement's false, but the person who committed the act has to prove it to be true. That's how it is in the UK. And in America, the people who committed the act have to the defendant has to prove it false, so it's actually a lot easier to go against it, and so he still lost that case.
Yeah, that was against the newspaper.
In England, the libel law is very much on the side of the individual, whereas in the U.S., particularly if you're famous like Johnny Depp, you not only have to prove that it was false and that you knowingly reported something was false, you need to prove that you knew it was false, you printed it willingly, and you did it because you wanted to hurt that person.
Yeah,
and Sarah Palin tried to beat that standard, and it upheld. But yeah, you can win a libel case in the UK and have no prayer in the US.
Yeah, so I was interested to see that people are taking Johnny Depp's side, because it seemed to me like it would be pretty tough to actually prove that any of the allegations were true and or false, or if they were just hearsay. But since he lost, I figured it'd be even harder here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to win at all, because it's strictly based on the op-ed piece that she actually didn't even write in the Washington Post and didn't name him. But I think he was mad because they had this divorce settlement where $7 million was going to be paid to her, and she was going to pay to the ACLU and other groups, which she just didn't do. And the amount she did pay was seemingly oddly paid by Elon Musk because she went on a date. The whole thing is just a mess. And it's just weird how we can get wrapped up into these kind of stories and these court proceedings.
It's because they're interesting.
They are
absolutely
stupid. I'll admit it.
It's a nice distraction from the problems that we can't solve. Nasty people with too much money who may or may not be beautiful fighting beats the shit out of trying to figure out whether you're supposed to get the booster shot.
Well, and most people have been in bad relationships, right? Not to that level bad, but there's the relationship between the two that is kind of interesting how it just fell apart.
Yeah, people can relate to a case like this. Maybe not to the extreme sense this case is, but if you were in a toxic relationship, you're definitely taking one side over the other based off of your experience, and that's why so many people care. That's why I've met so many people who will never support Johnny Depp again. They say they hate him. They will never watch another one of his movies. And I know a lot of people who like that he's standing up for himself and really think Amber Heard is just crazy.
Well, before they institute their ban, they should watch Black Mass. That's an underappreciated, awesome movie.
I was disappointed in it.
Really?
Yeah, maybe because I knew too much about the story in general.
Oh, I read the book and watched the movie and was,
of course you did,
entirely satisfied with both. That scene where he's trying to get the recipe for the steak, that's worth it all by itself.
Kalina, so you've watched the trial, right? Do you stand on one side or the other?
I'm a little more towards
Team Johnny.
I didn't want to propose it like that, but I do say that. That's why I didn't say it.
I just think Amber is a little of a loose cannon.
Oh, totally.
And when I listen to what she's saying, it doesn't even make sense. Like, she'll be like, we were sitting on the edge of the couch. I was sitting on the edge of the couch. But then I looked at the carpet. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? There's
detail.
Too many things I don't even know what you're saying.
I find that really interesting, though, Patrick, that you know people that won't see a Johnny Depp movie because they don't like how he's coming out in this trial. I would watch a Johnny Depp movie. I don't really like him either, but I would totally watch the movie if I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it was mostly my sister. She is somebody who, she feels that this is a lot more of a domestic violence and a women's rights case, and she thinks that a lot of the time, they're probably both telling the truth, but she thinks that Johnny Depp should really be punished for his actions, and so she thinks that because the people won't really punish Johnny Depp, that she should just not watch his movies because she doesn't want to show any support for him.
Has she seen 16 Candles?
God. I don't see it like that at all.
Maybe.
I don't see it like that.
She's seen Pirates of the Caribbean. That's a reason enough not to watch his movies.
I'm kidding.
You're right, Kalina.
They're just two loonies fighting over nothing, and they're both horrible people.
Who
We
had
both
substance
know
abuse
that.
problems.
Were you swayed, by the way, one way or the other? I mean, did you have an idea about Johnny Depp before this trial that's changed because of it?
Not really. I always thought he was a very talented actor, and I will always stand by that. He's very talented at what he does. Is he a good person? No.
My opinion's changed.
It was topiary as well.
My opinion's changed because of this trial. Because after following that UK trial where they found it, more likely than not, he did abuse her. Now, the trial was him against the paper, not her, so you didn't get that other side of it, which is why I think he's doing this trial. But yeah, I think it was one of those things where, oh wow, she was pretty terrible to him too.
Yeah, I think people thought he was a piece of shit before this trial, and a lot of.
And now we know they're both pieces of shit.
And
really,
somehow that's helped him.
But you know what? I would watch a movie if I thought the movie was going to be interesting and they were in it. I would watch it.
I feel like it's helping him because when you see domestic abuse trials, it's typically just the man abusing the woman, but this is
You're right.
abuse both ways, and you don't see it like that typically.
Right.
But it's just interesting.
We should be listening to her podcast.
Just wisdom from the mouths of babes.
I know. Well, that's how it
Lena
goes.
Neese, Patrick Schmitz, thanks for coming on. We're going to have you guys back again, and maybe we'll meet you at the restaurant. Can you get us like some extra chips?
I
understand
always looking
they're-
for free stuff.
They're not free there.
No, they are.
I was
As
hoping
long as
you-
it's not after the kitchen closes.
I was hoping you're going to tell us they're expensive, but we'll get them for free just because we're pals.
Yeah.
Oh man,
worked
the
out
geeks
nicely.
have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Now, if after that, if you don't know everything there is to know about Bill Paxton, I guess you better.
I feel like you have an odd obsession with him.
You should probably listen again or watch the replay on YouTube channel ML Elric. By the way, if you subscribe to us on YouTube, it not only helps the show, but you'll get an alert when we finally do go live, which is usually sometime between 12 and 12:30 every week. But if you listen to the full audio download, we have a special surprise for you in room 7609. So please stick around for that. Anyway, when he was gallivanting around in spandex, they called him the $1 Million Man, not Steve Austin.
Yeah. I know
Now the Guardian reports that Mississippi Department of Human Service calls Ted DiBiase and his kinfolks chiselers. The former pro wrestlers are being sued for allegedly misusing state welfare funds on things like drug rehabilitation in Malibu, California. It was once said, everybody's got a chance for the $1 Million Man. Everybody's got a price. But today we're making our Geek of the
You
Week.
just wanted to do the impersonation.
The $1 Million Man. Just for I did have to watch the $1 Million Man to get his tagline, and then I started watching him because he's now an evangelical preacher, and he wasn't bad. I kind of feel sad that he may have taken some welfare funds that should have gone to some of the poorest people in the country. But
now you're glad.
I just feel I'm more informed.
Not mad.
No. Everybody's got a price. But Geek of the Week, that's free.
What's going on?
That is free.
Mark's upset.
Not upset.
You're upset.
Confused.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
Long-time listener, first-time emailer, Christopher checks in on his commute from Fort Worth to Dallas with an inspired selection, Hot Dog by Martini Ranch. But because Sean loves it when we don't take orders from anyone, we're playing Martini Ranches. Well, I think there's a subversive. I know Kalina and Patrick aren't going to be ordered around.
This is really fascinating, Sean. How many times have people mentioned song by a band and ML chooses a different song by the same band?
Every time.
And Sean loves it.
I do.
Of course.
I don't know if you're going to love this one.
But so that's why we're playing Martini Ranch, but we're playing How Can the Laboring Man Find Time for Self-Culture? And Patrick will appreciate this. Laboring is spelled L-A-B-O-R-I-N-G.
Sorry, Christopher.
O-U-R-I-N.
You tried, Christopher.
Exactly how it should be spelled.
He put the U in labor.
I love a song that starts with a bunch of weird
What's
noises
fresh?
and talking too.
Sounds good. Domo. Thanks, pal.